We often associate a sedentary lifestyle with expanding waistlines, stiff joints, and metabolic slowdowns. But the consequences run deeper, right into the brain itself. Mounting evidence reveals that chronic inactivity doesn't just weaken the body, it can gradually rewire and shrink key brain regions responsible for memory, emotion regulation, and cognitive control. Sedentarism, it turns out, doesn't merely leave the brain unstimulated, it actively degrades it. But the good news is equally powerful. Through consistent movement and targeted stimulation, many of these neural changes can not only be halted, but reversed. The brain thrives on movement. It evolved in an environment where walking, hunting, climbing, and adapting to constant sensory input were necessary for survival. Physical activity isn't just a tool for physical health, it's foundational fuel for maintaining neural plasticity, cerebral blood flow, and synaptic strength. When we sit for hours each day, especially in low-stimulus environments like scrolling passively or working at a screen, the brain receives fewer signals to grow, repair, and adapt. One of the most affected regions is the hippocampus, which plays a critical role in memory formation and mood regulation. Chronic inactivity is associated with hippocampal atrophy, meaning actual shrinkage of gray matter. Studies on both animals and humans have shown that reduced physical activity leads to lower levels of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a protein essential for the growth and survival of neurons. Low BDNF levels are strongly linked to increased risk of depression, cognitive decline, and even dementia. Equally concerning is the impact on the prefrontal cortex, the brain's command center for executive function, planning, attention, impulse control, and decision-making. When movement is scarce, the neural circuits responsible for managing goals and behavior can begin to dull. This creates a feedback loop. Less activity reduces mental sharpness and motivation, which then makes initiating physical movement even harder. Over time, chronic sedentarism doesn't just make it physically harder to exercise, it makes it psychologically harder to care. The structural changes are real. Neuroimaging studies of adults who spend the majority of their waking hours sedentary show thinning of gray matter in the frontal and temporal lobes, as well as reduced connectivity in the default mode network, which is responsible for introspection, self-awareness, and learning from past experiences. This means less creativity, poor memory recall, and diminished emotional regulation. But the brain's greatest strength is also our greatest hope: neuroplasticity. With the right stimulus, even long-dormant neural networks can be reawakened. Regular movement, especially aerobic exercise like walking, cycling, or dancing, has been shown to restore hippocampal volume, increase BDNF levels, and strengthen prefrontal activity. Even small doses of consistent movement, such as standing up every 30 minutes or taking short walking breaks, can kickstart cerebral circulation and stimulate dopamine and norepinephrine release, sharpening focus and mood. Moreover, combining physical movement with cognitive engagement, as seen in dance classes, martial arts, or sports that involve coordination, yields even greater returns. These activities challenge both the body and the brain simultaneously, increasing connectivity between motor and cognitive regions. Think of it as rewiring your brain, not just to move, but to think differently while moving. Importantly, restoration doesn't happen overnight. Just as neural atrophy unfolds gradually over months or years of inactivity, rebuilding resilience takes time. But change begins with simple, consistent shifts: a daily walk in nature, practicing balance drills, or replacing 20 minutes of scrolling with stretching and mindful movement. Over time, these modest steps can reshape the trajectory of your cognitive health. Sleep, nutrition, and stress management also play crucial roles in reversing sedentary-induced damage. Chronic stress and poor sleep amplify neural decline by flooding the brain with cortisol and inhibiting neurogenesis. But movement, even light activity, can buffer these effects, supporting emotional regulation and stabilizing circadian rhythms. Ultimately, the message is both cautionary and hopeful. The brain adapts to the environment we give it. Inactivity starves it. Movement restores it. The decline associated with sedentarism is not destiny, it's a signal. And that signal can be answered, slowly but powerfully, through motion, engagement, and renewed purpose. So the next time you stand up, stretch, or walk around the block, realize that you're not just moving your body. You're rewiring your brain, reigniting regions that may have gone dim, and restoring a fundamental part of yourself that was built to evolve through motion.